And we are back. Sapna NYC is an organization that's transforming the lives of South Asian immigrant women by improving health, expanding economic opportunities, and creating social networks and building a collective voice for change. And joining me now, we've got the executive director of Sapna NYC Incorporated, Diya Basu-Sen. We're glad to have you back. Diya, good to have you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. And listen, you know, you're located somewhere in the heart of the Bronx. And when you talk about the Southeast Asian community, or I should say the South Asian immigrant community, talk to us about where we can particularly find that community located right in the borough.
Absolutely. I think that oftentimes, right, when people think of South Asians, they're always thinking about Queens. But there are South Asians kind of spread throughout the boroughs, and the Bronx actually has a really rapidly growing Asian population. We're based in Parkchester, which is the heart of the Bengali community in the Bronx, and it's the largest Bengali community in the Bronx. But you do also find a lot of Bengalis spread throughout in Soundview, in Norwood, and really scattered as well in other areas.
And for your organization, an opportunity to really tap into the community. Give us a little bit about where you are right now and the work that you're doing right now in the community.
Sure. So this is actually our 15th year. So we've been around for a long time. And our work is always changing and evolving with what the needs that we are seeing at the moment in the community. So there's things that we think that we should work on, but we're always on the ground listening and seeing what's happening as well. So in this kind of post-pandemic period, a lot of our work is still on recovery for our community and what that looks like for them to kind of be going back to work, for them to be trying to kind of come out some of the financial difficulties they've had these past few years, to deal with some of the rising domestic violence rates we've seen as well. So our work centers around health, around women's empowerment, as well as kind of community building.
When we talk about immigrant rights right now, we know that that's a big challenge, and you've had your hands full. How can you regard immigrant rights right now? What are the things that you're really looking to have addressed, particularly within the community?
One of the things that we really firmly believe is that knowledge is power, and that if our community doesn't have the knowledge of what rights actually exist, what services exist, how systems work in this country, it's really difficult for them to access all the things that they need. And it also leaves them kind of open for exploitation as well. So our immigrants' rights work is really about making sure our community has the knowledge, that they know if certain things happen, these are, this is the recourse that they have. These are the systems and protections that are in place, that there's organizations like Sapna that can help them, but also that even on their own, there's places they can call. So that centers around tenant protections, workforce protections, survivor protections, anti-Asian hate and discrimination protections as well, protections for undocumented folks. But again, it's really just making sure that they know what things are out there and what their legal rights are, and then how they can move forward if they feel like they're not getting kind of what they need.
Yeah. You also do a great job of wrapping around women. You got your women's circle there, and really taking the time to empower women. Give us a little bit more about the women's circle.
Sure. So our women's circle has been around for a while, but last year we kind of really started doing a much bigger, more regular circle with our mental health counselor. And with the women's circle, it's really creating a space that is for women and by women, something that is often hard to find in our community, and kind of the world at large. So in the women's circle, they meet weekly, and sometimes we'll have particular topics that we want to discuss. Sometimes those are heavy topics. Sometimes it's just kind of things around daily life, but they're also welcome to bring up any topics of their own. The idea is that, people are new, they're isolated, they come to a country, they don't know anyone. Oftentimes they're just staying at home, they don't know the language. So through this women's circle, they're able to make friends, they're able to get information or resources, And again, just find a space to connect with other people who kind of share similar experiences. It's run completely in Bengali. And we're actually really excited that next month we will be starting a similar circle, and that is going to be led in Hindi as well for Hindi and Urdu speakers, because we've had, again, such great response from our community for the women's circle.
Yeah. I know when you talk about coming from a community, one community into another, that transition is huge. And you have to learn the culture. You also have to learn about, the economic structure, finances. And I know for yourself, your organization is really doing something new, really special with financial literacy. Talk to us about what can this financial literacy program do for those who will be a part of them.
So we are excited that in May are going to start this new series of financial literacy courses for women. And the idea of these courses is to give people kind of the background knowledge they need around credit, banking in the US, taxes, tax forms, and things like that they get in work. Again, just to give them that base knowledge. Some of the things that we've seen in our community is that women are often not the ones who deal with the finances in the household. And sometimes, there's traumatic events, there's things that happen, and suddenly they are responsible for that. And not having any sort of knowledge makes them really vulnerable. So we've been having a lot of domestic violence survivors, for example. So when they leave a situation of abuse, now suddenly they're responsible for not only themselves, but oftentimes children, and they need to figure out how to pay bills, how to access a bank account, and they have, how to file taxes, and they've never done any of this before. We've also had community members who they've had their husbands suddenly and tragically pass away, and suddenly again, they're left with all these tasks that they've never done before. So we want to really give people that baseline knowledge so that should anything happen, they have those skills, but also so that they can be active participants in their household, and they can understand kind of what money is coming in, how it's working, how again the systems in this country work.
Yeah. Assess for us a little bit the needs of South Asian immigrant women. I know that that's the focus and that's your target, right? So talk to us about what do you identify as some of the more specific needs that maybe we as a community may be oblivious to?
Some of the things that we're seeing right now with the immigrant population that we're working with is really rising rates of domestic violence. So having legal services, just case management to help them navigate these situations and again, starting that new life. We're also seeing a lot of housing and food insecurity, so struggles to meet kind of basic needs in the community. And again, not knowing kind of what protections or services or benefits they might be eligible for. And then lastly, we're also seeing digital literacy being a huge need, through the pandemic, but even before, right? Things are more and more moving online. And in our community, a lot of people are not so comfortable with computers. Maybe they don't have access to a computer either. So a lot of our work is also teaching computer literacy classes, helping people actually get access to donated laptops, and just kind of opening up that digital world for them.
Yeah. A lot of great work you're doing, Diya, and thank you so much for being with us. Keep up the great work. There she is, the Executive Director of Sapna NYC, Diya Basu-Sen. Thank you for being with us.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me today.
All righty. Well, I want to let you know if you want more information, please visit their website at sapnanyc.org and then follow them on Facebook and also Instagram at Sapna NYC. We're encouraging, don't go anywhere. We've got more open coming up right after this.